So good morning to all. Today we will be discussing about the thermodynamic property of classical ideal gas. In the last class we have discussed about the brief introduction about the classical ideal gas. What are the different assumptions we are taking that we have discussed, and we have identified the evaluation of microstate for particular energy interval and a constant energy interval. So that is a case we have discussed for in the last class. Now today we need to identify what is the thermodynamic property of the classical ideal gas from the entropy value that is given to us. Okay, so we already having entropy equations corresponding to a classical ideal gas for a particular energy interval, so that we have already identified in the last class. Okay, hope you remember that. So from that discussion onwards, now we need to move on to identify the classical ideal gas thermodynamic properties such as energy, pressure, temperature, specific heat capacity sorry, and then we need to identify the specific capacity at constant pressure and these things. Okay, so today we will be dealing with the first to deal with the thermodynamic property of a classical ideal gas, and you are familiar with the table I have given here. It is of the internal energy representation, free energy representation, enthalpy, Gibbs free energy. So this we would have already covered in your thermodynamics section. Okay, and there you can identify, in order to identify temperature, you can take the internal energy with respect to the entropy. At a constant volume you will be getting the temperature value, and also you can note the pressure can be identified by taking minus dou u by dou v, that is dou internal energy by dou v. Okay, dou by dou v of internal energy at constant entropy will give you the pressure representation. And from the free energy notation we have the free energy A over here, and from that representation you can identify the pressure minus dou A by dou V at constant temperature will give you the pressure. Entropy can be identified by taking minus dou by dou T of A at constant volume. And similarly from the enthalpy notation you can identify what is T equal to dou H by dou S as P. Okay, V is equal to dou H by dou P at constant entropy. So I am not going much details about this table, but this is already have been covered in your thermodynamics section, where you can identify the Gibbs free energy from the using Gibbs free energy. You can identify the volume V equal to dou G by dou P at constant temperature. Okay, and you can identify the entropy from the Gibbs energy, that is S is equal to minus dou G by dou T at constant pressure notation. Okay, this relation we used to call as Maxwell's relation. Okay, Maxwell's thermodynamic relation we used to call. From that these are the four potential, thermodynamic potential. These four things are actually representing the energy representation. Okay, once you understand the energy of any system you can actually calculate the different thermodynamic parameter associated to with that. So that is what thermodynamic potential and the Maxwell relation is all saying about. Okay, what is thermodynamic potential is, it is about the energy representation of the different terms. Okay, that you would have already identified in your studies, but if you are not clear about that, let me just take a brief idea of that. Because when you identify the thermodynamic property we need to go in detail, what is internal energy, what is enthalpy, and these things to be also understood. And we know that what is Gibbs energy is, it is a maximum work that a thermodynamic system can perform at a constant temperature and pressure, that is Gibbs energy is equal to G equal to H minus Ts, where H is the enthalpy. What is then enthalpy? Enthalpy is the sum of the system's internal energy plus the product of its pressure and volume, that is U plus PV. Okay, then we have Helmholtz free energy that we have represented in that table as A. Okay, that is Helmholtz free energy. A, either you can represent it that is by A or is in by F. Okay, so Helmholtz free energy is a thermodynamic potential that measures the useful work obtainable from the closed thermodynamic system at a constant temperature. That means in an isothermal condition. Okay, so where you will be identifying the free energy, that is internal energy minus T into S, where S is the entropy, T is the temperature, where temperature is a constant value in that representation. And now there is one more term that you will be going to understand, that is about chemical potential. Chemical potential also is an energy that can be absorbed or released due to a change of particle number of the given species. The rate of change of free energy of a thermodynamic system with respect to change in number of atom or molecule of the species that are added to this. So which is depend on the number of particles present in the system. So which is giving the rate of change of free energy of a thermodynamic system with respect to change in number of atoms or molecule. So it is an energy that can be absorbed or released due to a change of particle number. That is we call as chemical potential. In this chemical potential, this you can represent in different terms. That is, I can identify chemical potential by from enthalpy, from free energy, from Gibbs free energy, and U that is the internal energy. So one can identify chemical potential from different values of energy representation, that is enthalpy, free energy, Gibbs energy, and U. And all that we are analyzing is that when there is an enthalpy, change in enthalpy, the change in number of particles with respect to that. Okay, so that is we are basically analyzing in these in these four steps. So what is internal energy? It is the energy within the system. Okay, so it is the capability of a system having the capable energy of a system that we call as internal energy, that is U we represented here. Now if you look into the above table, you will understand the internal energy we can represent as du equal to dq minus dw, where q is the amount of heat given and dw is the amount of work to be done. Okay, now you just refer and go through this table again after the class, and by taking the consideration of the different definition corresponding to the Gibbs energy, enthalpy, Helmholtz free energy. Okay, here we are represented four energy terms. So these are called thermodynamic potentials. Okay, using this thermodynamic potential, one can identify the different thermodynamic parameters like temperature, pressure, entropy, volume, and all. That is we used to call as the Maxwell relation corresponding to that. Okay, that you would have already done your thermodynamics. For our discussion, we need this idea for to further develop on the thermodynamic property of the classical ideal gas. Okay, so let me start again from the discussion that we have done in the last class, that is about the entropy representation for a particular energy interval. Okay, for an entropy representation for a particular energy interval. So this entropy we have taken in terms of a microstate at a particular energy interval. Okay, that is delta. Energy interval we call it as delta there. Okay, so also we said that the logarithmic value of gamma is equal to logarithmic value of sigma, that is the two microstate at two different conditions. Gamma means microstate at particular energy interval, and sigma was the microstate at a constant energy level. Okay, energy level. Okay, let me just take back the entropy representation over here. So here we start our main idea of interest, that is the entropy we have represented as N kb ln V by h cube. Okay, that is 4 pi me divided by 3n square, sorry, 3 by 2 plus 3 nkb by 2. Okay, sometimes I may forget to keep kb, so you have to note that it is Boltzmann constant kb. Now what I do is that I need to identify the energy representation from using entropy. I need to identify the energy corresponding to that. For that, what I do is that the first thermodynamic property I will be identifying here is that energy. So for that, so I'll just take the entropy representation that we have already written here. So what I do is that I'll just divide this equation by, so dividing this entire equation by 3 nk by 2, or rather 3 nkb by 2. Okay, so what I get then, 3 nkb by 2, if I divided here, so what I will be getting is that I will be getting 2 s by, that is I will be doing that s divided by 3 nkb by 2, which is equal to, when you divide 3 nkb on the other side, what you will be getting that 2 by 3. Okay, 2 by 3 ln v by h cube into 4 pi me divided by 3n raised to 3 by 2. Okay, then plus 1, because we are just divided by 3 nkb by 2, here 3 nkb by 2 was there, so it's 1. Okay, now I can represent this equation by like this, that is, here I have s divided by 3 nkb by 2, that means I can represent this equation as 2s by 3 nkb. Okay, which is equal to 2 by 3. Okay, 2 by 3 ln. So now I need to represent v by h cube and 4 pi me 3n together, and I have to take 3 by 2 outside. For that, what I need to do, so I'll be just doing, just follow what I do is that v by h cube by 2 by 3 I represented. Okay, then I'll be having 4 pi me divided by 3n. Now I give that, earlier this 3 by 2 was only for 4 pi me by 3 by n. Now what I do that, it is for v by h cube 2 by 3 into 4 pi me by 3n raised to 3 by 2. So what is v by h cube 2 by 3 into 3 by 2? That is 2 and 2n cancel, 3 and 3n cancel. You will be finally again you will be getting v by h cube. So this is for I just did for a convenience, that is I have to take this entire terms raised to 3 by 2 over here. Okay, so then plus 1 will be there. Now what is 2s by 3 nkb? Further, if reduced, what you will be getting is that when you take the logarithmic value of this representation, what I will be having? I will be having 2 by 3 into 3 by 2 ln v by h cube, okay, 4 pi me divided by 3n, okay, plus 1 will be there, because if I take the logarithmic of this representation, I can represent 3 by 2 ln. That means what? You can cancel out these two, and you will be finally you will be having the value that will be like this, that is 2s by 3 nkb is equal to, sorry, okay. So what I do, once again I'll do here, so I'll take this minus 1 on the other side, that is 2s by 3 nkb minus 1 will be equal to, this term will go cancel, what then remaining will be there, ln will be there, ln v by h cube raised to 2 by 3 4 pi me divided by 3n. Okay, so that we will be getting finally over here. And now if I take the exponential of this representation, okay, if I represent this term in terms of exponential, that is e raised to 2s by 3 nkb minus 1, which is equal to, if you take the exponential on the right hand side, then they will be having only this representation, that is v by h cube raised to 2 by 3 4 pi me divided by 3n. So this is the notation you will be getting from here. Okay. Now if I represent just by, I need to find out the energy, right, in terms of entropy. So for that, what I do, I'll be just rearrange this equation so that I can take energy E is here. So if I rearrange, then I'll be getting E will be equal to what, 3n divided by 4 pi m. Okay. Now if I take v raised to 2 by 3 divided by, if you take this superscript to inside, that is v raised to 2 by 3 will be there, that is on taking outside, that is h cube into 2 raised to 2 by 3, that is h square will be there, then v raised to 2 by 3 will be there. Okay, then e raised to 2s divided by 3 nkb minus 1. What I did is that just I have taken keeping this energy E terms here, then I have taken 4 pi m on the other side, 3n also other side, that is 3n by 4 pi m. Then I have taken v raised to 2 by 3 divided by h cube into 2 by 3, that is h square will be there. So that h square will go to the numerator and v raised to 2 by 3 will go to the denominator. So the what I'll be getting is that the internal energy. So I'll be getting the internal energy E will be is equal to. So I have represented the internal energy here in terms of E. Okay. Earlier in the early discussion of today's class, we have said that internal energy I have represented in terms of U as well. But you just keep the note that here we represented the internal energy in terms of E. Okay. So we get the internal energy E equal to 3n by 4 pi m h square by v raised to 2 by 3 e raised to 2s by 3n kb minus 1. Okay. So this is the energy representation corresponding to that. Okay. Now we know that if you get the internal energy, it is very easy to find out the temperature value. What was the relation? We'll just go back to the relation where you can identify that when you differentiate internal energy U with respect to dou by dou S at constant volume, you will be getting the temperature value. Okay. Similarly, if you differentiate dou by dou V at constant entropy on a internal energy, you will be getting the pressure representation. Okay. So I said that the internal energy U in this equation we have represented as E. Okay. So basically we are having internal energy E equal to 3n by 4 pi m h square divided by v raised to 2 by 3 e raised to 2s by 3n kb minus 1. Okay. So internal energy we already identified. Now we have to identify the temperature representation. So temperature T equal to dou E by dou S. Okay. It is similar like if you take dou U by dou S. Okay. So where U is replaced by E. So what was the case here? So here we will be taking at constant number of particles and volume. Okay. Constant number of particles and the volume. So we'll have T equal to what? T equal to, when you do the analysis, you'll be have to here the number of particles is constant, that is 3n by 4 pi m is a constant term, and h square by v raised to 2 by 3 also a constant, where v is a constant. Then we have to differentiate what? We have to differentiate e raised to 2s by 3 nkb, where s is there, entropy is there. Okay, so when you differentiate that, you will be getting e raised to 2s by 3 nkb minus 1 into that is 2 by 3 nkb will be there. Okay, when you differentiate e raised to 2s by 3 nkb notation. So now what I will be getting, the what is this term 3n by 4 pi m h square v raised to 2 by 3 e raised to 2s by 3 and kb minus 1. This is E, right? The internal energy, right? So temperature I can represent it like this, that is T equal to what? T equal to temperature I can represent in terms of internal energy, because this entire term is what? This is E, right? This entire term. So E into 2 by 3 nkb will be getting like this. And this has a famous representation, that is when you represent T equal to what? T equal to 2E by 3 nkb. Okay, temperature, if you have the value of internal energy and the number of particles, then you can easily identify the temperature notation corresponding to that. This has another way of representation, that is if you represent that is in terms of internal energy, E equal to 3 by 2 nkbt. Okay, just you multiply 3 nkb on the left side, 3 nkbt divided by 2 is equal to internal energy. This is an equation that is we will be come across when we will be discussing about the equipartition theorem. Okay, energy of a three-dimensional particle will be having the energy for a three-dimensional particle will be E equal to 3 by 2 nkbt. So this is a consequence of an equipartition theorem that we will be come across when in the later on our discussion. Okay, so E equal to 3 by 2 nkbt, that is in terms of T is the temperature, N is the number of particle, and E is the internal energy there. Okay, so we also get an idea of the representation corresponding to this equipartition energy representation. So this equation is very important for all the aspect of thermodynamics physics, and you just note down this representation. We'll discuss about this equation later on when we will discussing about equipartition theorem. Okay, so we got temperature notation from the here. Now we need to identify the pressure here. Okay, pressure will be equal to minus dou E by dou V. Okay, from that table, if I just correlate with that table, that is minus dou U by dou V at constant number of particle and entropy. Okay, why I am representing U instead of E, because you do not be confused with that table. That's why I just want to keep E and U together here. Okay, so when I do that differentiation here, I'll be having, because here entropy is constant, so we have to evaluate with respect to V raised to 2 by 3, right? So that is I'll be getting 3n by 4 pi m. This minus is coming from here, from that equation. Then I'll be having h square e raised to 2s by 3 nkb minus 1 was this all term will be treated as a constant, and there was a denominator, there is a term v raised to 2 by 3. When you take the dou by dou v with respect to v raised to 2 by 3, we'll be having minus 2 by 3 into v raised to minus 5 by 3. Okay, that is the pressure representation will be having 2 by 3n by, because here minus, here also minus is there, that is 2 by 3 into 3n by 4 pi m h square e raised to 2s by 3 n kb minus 1. Okay, so I can represent v raised to minus 5 by 3. What is v raised to minus 5 by 3? So v raised to minus 5 by 3 is basically 1 by v raised to 5 by 3. That is, I can represent a 1 by v raised to 2 by 3 into v. Okay, so I can represent like that, so that I'll be having the value v raised to 2 by 3 into v. Why do I represent that? Because we know that h square by v raised to 2 by 3 means what? It is again energy, internal energy, right? So I'll be having the value corresponding to that, that is 2 by 3 3n by 4 pi m h square divided by v raised to 2 by 3 e raised to 2s by 3 n kb minus 1. Okay, and this term we know that this is the energy representation. Okay, so this is basically E. So into there will be a one more term, that is 1 by V will be there. Okay, so the term in the bracket I can represent it in terms of E, so that I will be getting sorry P equal to 2 by 3 E by V. Because the term in the bracket is basically energy notation. Okay, so I can represent the pressure will be equal to 2 by 3 E by V, where E is the internal energy, V is the respective volume corresponding to that. Okay, in this term you may be familiar because we have come across the same representation of pressure in the earlier discussion of the classical ideal gas. Okay, when we have seen that same notation when we have done for adiabatic, when you discussed about the adiabatic reversible process. Okay, in that case you have seen the same notation corresponding to pressure, P equal to 2 by 3 E by V. From this notation, hope you familiar that we also identify that PV raised to 5 by 3 is equal to a constant, like we have represented. Okay, and we also get a value, that is PV raised to gamma is equal to a constant, where we know that V raised to 2 by 3 E equal to a constant. Okay, from that we said that E equal to V raised to minus 2 by 3, and if you substitute E equal to V raised to minus 2 by 3 over here, you will be getting PV raised to 5 by 3 a constant. Okay, PV raised to gamma equal to a constant. Okay, so we are reaching on the same notation, that is we are obtained for adiabatic reversible process. What it means is that, the microstate at particular energy interval, when we evaluate, also we are getting the same condition, same value for the pressure as we got for the microstate for omega. Earlier we got this representation for omega NEV case, where we had a notation, that is which is proportional to V raised to 2 by 3 E. So where we have got this similar representation, so we are getting the same means. So when you evaluating the gamma of NEV, okay, we are getting the same notation corresponding to that. Okay, so we are getting the pressure representation P equal to 2 by 3 E by V. So the next thermodynamic property I will be gonna evaluate is, I said it's about specific heat capacity at constant volume. Okay, that is CV, specific heat capacity at a constant volume. At a constant volume. So we know that specific heat capacity is basically we do represent that C equal to dQ by T. Okay, this is a general representation of that, and we have specific heat capacity in terms of internal energy, that is dou E by dou T. Okay, at constant volume and number of particle. Okay, so CV equal to dou E by dou T at constant volume and number of particle, that is equal to, when you evaluate dou E by dou T, what you will be getting, For that, what I do that I'll just take the representation of internal energy. Internal energy E is equal to what? We already got a information, that is 3/2 NKBT. Okay, so I'll just substitute that is over here. From that, I'll be getting dou E by dou T, constant volume and number of particles. I'll be getting 3/2 NKB. Okay, so this is a constant number of particles corresponding to that, and this you can represent in terms of universal gas constant, that is 3/2 NR. Okay, how do we get this notation? I'll be just briefing after some time. Okay, so you can represent NKB by R over here, and now when I represent the specific heat capacity, at constant pressure, so that I have to identify Cp, right? The specific capacity at constant pressure. For that, what I do that it is dou H by dou T will be giving the corresponding representation, and constant number of particle and volume. That is, we know that what is H? H is the enthalpy. What is enthalpy? H is means. So what is that? Is internal energy plus PV. Okay, so if you substitute that into the equation, E plus PV divided by dou T will be the, that is equal to dou, we can represent as dou E by dou T plus dou by dou T at PV. Okay, sorry, in this case, what is the case is that, sorry, it's not volume here. So I said now it's a pressure is the constant term over here, volume is varying one. So I can substitute the term corresponding to that. What I do is that I'll be just representing, we know that PV equal to what? We already have equation P equal to 2/3 E by V, sorry, E by V, that we already identified, right? From that equation, I can write PV equal to 2/3 E. Okay, then what is E? You already said E is equal to what? 2/3 3 NKBT by 2. Okay, from that equation, what I get that PV equal to what? It is NKBT. And for ideal gas, we know that the general ideal gas equation was what? PV equal to nRT. So this is the ideal gas equation, PV equal to nRT. So by comparing this one, we know that we can replace PV equal to what? NKBT or nRT, like I can replace here. So that is, I'll be having dou by dou T, that is what? 3/2 NKBT dou by dou T plus dou by dou T. Here PV I can replace like NKBT. Okay, sorry, or nRT. Okay, so we know that what is this term dou E by dou T, that we already said that this is a value for CV, right? This is CV, then this is plus, when you take dou by dou T of NKB, we'll be having NKB here. Okay, so this NKB is what I can replace by NR, so that is CV plus NR will be there, that is CP. Okay, what is CV then? CV already identified that CP equal to CV what? 3/2 NR. Okay, plus NR. Then what I will be getting finally is that what is 3/2 NR plus NR, that is Cp equal to the constant specific heat capacity I'll be getting as 5/2 NR. Okay, so I can just represent that is in terms of universal gas constant R. Okay, now when you take the ratio of this value, when you take the ratio of this value, that we will be getting the value corresponding to gamma. Okay, that is gamma equal to Cp by Cv. Gamma equal to Cp by Cv, that is the specific capacity at constant pressure with respect to constant volume, that is equal to what? 5 by 2 Nr divided by 3 by 2 Nr, that is equal to 5 by 3. Okay, so what I will be getting is that gamma equal to Cp Cv, that is where pressure is a constant representation. So what I will be getting is PV equal to 5 by 3 equal to a constant. Okay, so it's again representing the same. This we have already proved in the earlier case also. When you consider the adiabatic process, we also getting a notation that is PV raised to 5 by 3. So this 5 by 3 is actually the gamma notation. We know that we are trying to find out the gamma, PV raised to gamma equal to a constant, right? So we got identified that constant gamma is equal to what? It is Cp by Cv, that is equal to 5 by 3. Okay, so this all discussion we have done for a monoatomic case. Okay, for a monoatomic case, the PV raised to 5 by 3 or gamma equal to what? It is 5 by 3. The constant value, this superscript will be 5 by 3. Okay, so that is we have identified in this case. So PV equal to 5 by 3, a constant, PV raised to gamma equal to a constant, that we have identified. So in this discussion what we have done is that we just identified the internal energy. By using the internal energy, so from where we get the internal energy? Internal energy we get from the entropy representation. Okay, from using the internal energy we have identified the temperature and pressure. Okay, then we have identified the specific heat capacity at constant volume and constant pressure, and we also identified the gamma, that is equal to Cp by Cv, which is equal to 5 by 2 Nr divided by 3 by 2 Nr, 5 by 3. So this gamma value for a monoatomic, it will be 4 by 3. Okay, so it will be 4 by 3 for this case, and when you consider the diatomic case, it will be 7 by 2, sorry 7 by 3. So like it goes, sorry 7 by 5 it will come. Okay, so how do it come, I will be discussing in later on when you are discussing the degree of freedom and all. Okay, here you can actually identify the corresponding representation of, when you identify the Cp value, we'll also get an idea of how do we identify the diatomic case, the gamma value. Normally for a diatomic case the gamma will be 7 by 5 because Cp will be 7 by 2 and Cv will be 5 by 2 in that case. So we'll be getting the gamma will be 7 by 5 in that case. Okay, and when it comes to triatomic case, it will be 9 by 6 something it will come. Okay, or 7 by 6 or something. Okay, later on I'll tell you that. Anyway, you just note down that gamma equal to C pi by Cv. Okay, so this is we have identified here the values of thermodynamic properties corresponding to a classical ideal gas. Okay, we have identified the internal energy, entropy, temperature, pressure, specific heat capacity at constant volume, and we have already identified Cv and Cp. Okay, so these are the different thermodynamic property we need to identify. So if you know the entropy and internal energy, the remaining parameters you can easily identify by using these two values. Okay, so that's what we understood from this discussion. And now what we are moving on to discuss is it's about intensive and extensive property. Okay, there are two kind of classification with respect to thermodynamic parameters, that is intensive property and extensive property. Okay, so let me just explain what is intensive property first. Okay, intensive property, so it is a physical property of a system is a physical property of system that does not depends on the size or amount of a in the system. Physical property of a system that does not depends on the size of the system or amount of the material in the system. Okay, so that's intensive property എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ജസ്റ്റ് നിങ്ങളൊന്ന് ഈ ഡെഫിനിഷൻ ഒന്ന് എഴുതിയെടുക്കുക. So intensive property is a physical property of a system that does not depends on the size of a system or the amount of material in the system. Okay, that is നമ്മളൊരു സിസ്റ്റം കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ഒരു ബോക്സ് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഞാനൊരു ബോക്സ് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാണ്. ഓക്കെ, ഈ ഒരു ബോക്സിലുള്ള ഈ ബോക്സിന്റെ സൈസോ അതിലോ അതല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതിലുള്ള നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസിന്റെ കേസോ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല, ഇത് മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു കേസ്. അപ്പോൾ അതായത് നമുക്ക് ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള പാരാമീറ്റേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഇതിന് നമ്മൾ ഇന്റൻസീവ് പാരാമീറ്റേഴ്സ് എന്നാണ് പറയുക. അതായത് ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ കെമിക്കൽ പൊട്ടൻഷ്യൽ, ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ, ദെൻ ഡെൻസിറ്റി, ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ പ്രഷർ, ദെൻ സ്പെസിഫിക് ഹീറ്റ് കപ്പാസിറ്റി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ടേംസുകൾ. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഈ ഒരു കേസിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇവിടുത്തെ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ്, ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ് ഡബിൾ ആകുകയെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ് ഡബിൾ ആവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇന്റൻസീവ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്തായില്ല, സോറി, ഇന്റൻസീവ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്തായില്ല, it won't change when you increase the number of particles or the size of the box. So intensive properties അല്ലെങ്കിൽ intensive parameters എന്ന് പറയുന്ന parameters ആണ് chemical potential, temperature, density, pressure, CV and CP, that is a specific heat capacity ന്റെ different representation. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിന്റെ കേസിൽ നമ്മൾ number of particles increase ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാലും intensive properties എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്തായിരിക്കില്ല, അതായത് ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യില്ല. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഞാൻ ടെമ്പറേച്ചറിന്റെ കേസ് എടുക്കുക. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ ഓഫ് സിസ്റ്റം പറയാണ്. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ ആ സിസ്റ്റത്തിന്റെ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ് ഇൻക്രീസ് ചെയ്ത് എന്ന് വിചാരിച്ച അവിടുത്തെ ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ കൂടുകയോ കുറയുകയോ ഇല്ല, പക്ഷേ ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ എന്തായിരിക്കും, സെയിം തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും. സിമിലർലി പ്രഷർ, അവിടെ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ് ഇൻക്രീസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് വെച്ച് അവിടെ പ്രഷറിന്റെ വാല്യൂ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രഷറിന്റെ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവിടെ വാരി ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ ഇത്തരം പാരാമീറ്റേഴ്സിനെ ഇന്റൻസീവ് പാരാമീറ്റേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ലിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. ഇനി ഞാൻ എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവ് പാരാമീറ്ററൂടെ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആ ഭാഗം ഒന്നുകൂടെ ക്ലിയർ ആവും. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവ് പാരാമീറ്റർ. ഓക്കെ, എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവ് പാരാമീറ്റർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ ഒരു പാരാമീറ്റർ അല്ലെ, സോറി, എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി. ഓക്കെ, സോറി. So extensive property means, so it is a property, physical property of a system which depends on size of the system or the amount of the material present in the system. Okay, so it's a property depends on the size of the system or the amount of material present in the system. So what are those properties, what are those parameters, like we can classify here. So that are internal energy. Okay, so internal energy will vary with respect to the number of particles and the size of the system. Okay, that is E I just represent, and the enthalpy, entropy, and Gibbs energy. These four terms will change with respect to number of particles. That means here the change will be, there is one more aspect I have to say, that when you increase the number of particles by doubling by, when you increase the number of particles by again taking the double of that, then the values of GSG, which also has a corresponding increase of twice the increase of EHSG, that is internal energy, enthalpy, and Gibbs free energy, entropy will also increase with respect to that as multiple to that. Okay, that is when you consider a system. Okay, let me just take a system like this. Okay, so this I have just combined into a separated by as a two section. So one section of a entropy S1, E1 as the corresponding internal energy, and which has a pressure P1 and temperature T1, and the other side we will be having S2 and E2. Okay, and we have P2 and T2 over here. Okay, so when you expand or this combine this chamber by make it once, okay, by if I combine this chamber together, so I'll be having the corresponding value of the temperature. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here the entropy will be what? It will be S1 plus S2 when you combine these two together, and the energy will be equal to E1 plus E2. But for these two systems, the pressure will be only having one value, that is pressure will be 1 and temperature will be 1. Okay, so P and T will be same for these two systems, but there will be a entropy will get increased S1 plus S2, energy will be having E1 plus E2. Okay, so entropy and sorry, the pressure and temperature will be constant for even then if you combine these two systems together. So that is the case for intensive and extensive property of a system. Now what I will be introducing is that it's about the chemical potential representation. Okay, why we are discussing this part will be get to know about when we'll discuss about the Gibbs paradox, because Gibbs paradox is saying about that when you combine two systems, then the entropy will should be equal to what? The total entropy change should be equal to 0. Normal case, if the total entropy change will be should be equal to 0. But Gibbs paradox is saying that when you combine two systems, the total entropy will be greater than 0. The change in entropy will be greater than 0. It won't be 0. That means when you combine these two systems, there is an anomaly when you combine these two systems. Okay, that part of the discussion we hope we will do on the next class, but that is about Gibbs paradox. That is a very important section that we'll do by next week, next class. So before that, let me introduce one term that I already said about chemical potential. Okay, what is chemical potential is? Okay, chemical potential. So which I can represent in terms of Gibbs energy, that is mu n. Gibbs energy equal to mu n, or mu equal to what? Mu equal to dou g by dou n with respect to temperature and constant temperature and pressure. And we know that also we will get the value corresponding to mu, that is in terms of mu equal to what? It is dou u by dou n. Likewise also you can get the value corresponding to chemical potential that I already seen. Then what is the chemical potential? That I already said, it is a form of energy that can be absorbed or released during a chemical reaction or a phase transition due to the change of the number of particles in a given system. Okay, so which is the which is a form of energy that can be absorbed or released during a chemical reaction or a phase transition case. Why it occurs? Due to the change of the number of particle in a given system. Okay, so it's a form of energy that can be absorbed or released during a chemical reaction or a phase transition due to the change of number of particle present. That's why you can see that it depends upon the chemical potential is a change in Gibbs energy with respect to the change in number of particles, or change in internal energy with respect to number of particles. Okay, anyway, it's whatever we'll be getting, it's an energy representation that is with respect to the number of particle. So that is we called as chemical potential notation. Okay, so and tomorrow we'll be discussing about the Gibbs paradox representation, because it's a lengthier discussion, so I am not going in detail to that, but let me give a small idea of Gibbs paradox, and you can just get a brief idea before coming to the next class. What it means is that when you consider two system, okay, when you consider a two system, so I'll be giving a detailed discussion on next class, but let me just introduce you what is Gibbs paradox. Is that when you increase the number of particle for a system, okay, so we know that when you consider the extensive property, so it's a paradoxical representation. What it means is that there is a conflict when you consider, when you system, that is when you double the value of number of particles, then there will be a corresponding change in number of particles in the different system, and there will be a additional change with respect to the number of particles. Now we say that n is multiplied to n cross 2, okay, n into 2, and there will be a change in number of particles. Number of particles are changed, and the energy also changed with respect to the number of particles, and the entropy also will be changed with respect to ps. Okay, it is not ps, okay, so pe. So there will be a additional change with respect to energy also, you can notice when there is a change in number of particle, and this entropy also change to a representation ps, and there will be an additional change into volume as well. The volume also change with respect to pv. Okay, now let me just take an example of a simple box. So here we know that we have different parameters n1, v1, n2, v2, and the temperature T is constant at two cases. Temperature is constant, it is T, and we have S1, S2 over here. Okay, and also we can consider that mass at this particle m1 equal to 1 particle, m2 is different, because these are two different gases. Okay, we are treating two different gases as two different chamber, and we are saying that temperature is constant at two chambers. Okay, and the number of particles and the volume and the entropy is different for different chamber. Okay, now if I evaluate the total value of this S, that should be S1 plus S2. Okay, and now if I mix this value together, okay, before mixing the total entropy will be S1 plus S2, and again after you mix this gas, okay, if you mix these two gas together, so it should be S1 plus S2 again, right? That means, let me just keep it that this is SA, that is a mixing before. Okay, before mixing SA, and after mixing I'll be just keep it at S1 plus S2. So if I just evaluate the chamber, if I mix together, so I have to get the entropy. Basically what the entropy before and after should be same, then only I'll be getting the delta S should be what, delta S should be will be equal to 0, that is total change in energy before mixing and after mixing will be equal to 0. But what we observe is that, we basically observe is that the change in entropy will be greater than or equal to 0. In the most of the case we will be observing the delta S value will be greater than 0, not greater than or equal to, it will be greater than 0. So there is some difference you can observe when you mix a state. Here you can see that these are two different chambers. When you mix, the entropy should be, it is a sum of S1 plus S2, but we are not getting the same. Okay, that is we call that Gibbs paradox representation. Okay, how do we tackle this big Gibbs paradox representation? How do we reach to a state that is delta S is equal to 0? That we will be looking in the next class in detail. Okay, I have just given a brief idea of what is Gibbs paradox is. In detail we will be discussing about Gibbs paradox on next class, because it's a lengthier discussion. We need to consider different values of volume and pressure and temperature, and then we need to identify that representation corresponding to that. Hope that we will do on the next class. Okay.